In a world where free will reigns, it is taught that if a soul does not see to his own needs, no one else will. It has become a common standard to look after one's own best interests. This thinking has become so imbalanced, and time has brought about a regression in many areas of this world wherein they preach and believe that only the strong will survive. Much selfishness has been bred into these generations of mortals. Most of these mortals live in a world of fear, and therefore always hold up their shields of defence. This has become a world where a brother cannot trust a brother, where a sister cannot rely on another sister. Over the last few decades, in the midst of confusion, a rigidness has become dominant in the minds of mortals. There is not much flexibility between fellow mortals. This world's people have become a severe judge of character defects, always on the lookout for their fellows' mistakes. Seldom do we find a mortal with a true understanding of his fellows' shortcomings, fears, and ignorance. This worldly inflexibility has caused humankind to become much too harsh with one another. Some have said to their fellows, "This is the right way." Unbeknownst to them, their fellows indeed have their own mind, their own experiential path. One can claim, "I am flexible," and yet criticize their fellow brothers and sisters. This is not flexibility. This is not having the understanding for your fellows that your Father in heaven has for you. On the mansion worlds, they teach a specific exercise that I will share with you. Upon entering a difficult situation, visualize yourself as fluid. Fluid is free-moving, is penetrable and light. When you visualize yourself as weightless, free-flowing and flexible, it is almost like doing the stillness without actually taking time to find a quiet place away from the busyness of the world. To imagine yourself as flexible is to have immediate contact with your indwelling Father fragment. When you are flexible, you say, "May God's will be done." I can accept God's will. My flexibility enables me to more readily accept and understand Father's overall vision. For example, those who are ill find themselves in a state of resistance and are likely to be closed off from a juster contact. If those who are ill would perform the exercise on being fluid and flexible, they would realize that it is much more easy to accept what is, and that the human body is not yet quite perfect, and they would know that many also struggle with illness. Yes, those that can remain flexible are more likely to let an illness take its course, and to release the illness. Those that can remain flexible are less likely to be overwhelmed by anxiety and fear. Mortals fear the unknown. If you are a mortal who is flexible, then you are willing to accept Father's will and be empowered to follow his will. Many mortals experience undue difficulties in everyday life. There seems to be many tasks to complete, and it seems as if there are not enough hours in a day. I would suggest to you, upon arising in the morning, declare yourself fluid, and request that Father pour you where he may. In all your struggles, it is more likely to be a little more peaceful if you are to remain in the Father's will, which is to be accepting of his plan, which is to be flexible. In the midst of your struggle, and upon making the conscious choice to remain flexible, look at your problem. Take small steps towards solving this difficulty. Complete each step before moving on. And if possible, allow yourself enough time so that you do not have the added burden of a deadline. Those that move like fluid throughout their days are becoming keenly in-tuned with intuitiveness. You see, those that are flexible are almost prepared for anything and are assisted by their intuitive abilities. When I speak of being fluid and flexible, I mean not being passive or conforming to the will of others, no. And I mean not conforming to certain social standards. I do mean moving through this life with your material body and as though you were already in spirit form. In a world with time limits and deadlines and qualitative standards, it is difficult to remain light. I do say humour is a wonderful way to remain flexible and accepting of life's difficulties. To make a conscious decision to remain light-hearted is a wonderful antidote to a world with so many limitations. This week, I ask you to move through your week as pure spirit beings who are able to be poured into any situation and be able to see the whole picture. Attempt to be light-hearted and unafraid of humour during all your seemingly important difficulties in everyday life.